Hi kindergartners, we've been talking a lot about great foods to eat and the different food groups that they go in. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We're going to talk about what you shouldn't eat. I've got lots of things here in front of me, all things that might look like things that go in food, but they're not. So how do we know what we should eat and what we shouldn't? If we get a bottle of ketchup, we can eat that. But if we get a bottle of shampoo, it's probably not a good idea. Things like hand sanitizer and starch for clothing. These are things that we probably don't want to eat. But how do we know the difference? We're surrounded by signs all the time. This one behind me is right outside of the high school. It's to help motorists know when people are going to be crossing the street. These signs are here to help us. We are surrounded by signs all over our playgrounds and our schools, our malls. Everywhere you go, you get signs that try to help you. Food actually has signs as well. Let's start by looking at some food. And why is it sometimes we can eat some of the food and sometimes we probably shouldn't eat that same food? Even though it's food, maybe we shouldn't eat it. You've probably had an apple or a banana that you had on your counter that maybe has been around for a little while and it kind of starts to rot. It gets kind of rotten. All food actually gets rotten like that. All food has what's called an expiration date. It means we should probably eat it before this day. Fresh foods like eggs actually don't last that long in your refrigerator. You can't have eggs in your refrigerator for like a full year. They're going to be bad. On most foods, you'll see that there's a date printed right here on the food. Now for eggs, it might say a week, maybe a week and a half for some eggs. Milk lasts about a week or a week and a half as well. You can see it printed right on the milk when you should drink that milk by. All foods have some kind of an expiration date on them. Some foods you can have for quite a while, even up to like a year. A soda can, actually on the bottom, says its expiration date. Here's some baking powder that you use in like cookies. On the bottom is the expiration date. Here's some baking soda, also with some expiration date stamped on the bottom. Even things like elbow macaroni, things that do last quite a while. This elbow macaroni says it can be used up until September 2022. Well, it's only 2021 right now, so this could be good on my shelf for over a year. You always want to look at expiration dates before you decide if you want to eat some food. That way you know it's not going to start to get rotten. Some chemicals do have signs on them. This one has a green sign right here that says it's explosive. Let's talk about some of the things that we want to look for in things that we shouldn't eat. Why are they so dangerous? Some chemicals are very dangerous and you have to watch out for them. When scientists work with these chemicals, we have to take lots of special care in order to make it so we don't get hurt. We always wear some kind of glassware or some kind of eyewear in order to keep the chemicals out of our eyes. We also wear a coat to keep the chemicals off of our clothes. And sometimes we wear gloves to keep the chemicals off of our hands, because that's not good either. Some chemicals can be very dangerous. Some of them explode. I've got a chemical here which I'm going to react with something else to show you what can happen with some of these dangerous chemicals. I have to do this in this really special hood here, which is a fan, which is going to take away some of the fumes that come out of this because it's very, very dangerous. We don't want to try this kind of thing at home. So I'm going to put some of this chemical in this little dish here. And you can see it looks like a white chemical. It just looks just like maybe a flour or sugar or something like that. It doesn't look very dangerous, but it is. So if I take some of this and put it right in here, This can actually, it looks just kind of like a white powder. So how do we know that it's dangerous? Well, we would look for signs on these bottles and see if we can't figure out what those signs mean. There's lots of different signs on this bottle that says that it's dangerous. Let's see what happens when I hook this chemical up with something else to give it a little kick. Just gonna put a little drop of this chemical on there. Some chemicals are actually flammable. The word flammable sounds like flame. They start on fire, and we look for this symbol. I have a chemical here called hexane. Hexane is kind of like a gasoline. It's very flammable. In fact, not even the liquid hexane is flammable, but the fumes that come off of hexane and the air that comes off of hexane is also flammable. Let me show you how this works. We've talked a lot about different foods you should eat and foods you should stay away from, and things that aren't foods. Your teacher's going to go through some of the signs you should look for to know if something's dangerous and that you should stay away from it. But the one thing I want you to take away from this whole thing is I want you to always ask an adult before you put anything in your mouth. You shouldn't drink things, you shouldn't eat things that an adult hasn't said that it's okay. There are lots of chemicals at your house. Some of them you really shouldn't even get on your skin, let alone put in your mouth. We want to keep chemicals out of our eyes. We want to keep chemicals off of our skin and out of our mouths if they're dangerous. So be sure that you talk to an adult before you do anything. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.